Good morning, sir. Thank you, Queen's NRI Hospital, and thank you, Chandramouli Garu, for this wonderful opportunity. So, I think since it's been 2 months since we've started ophthalmology services, I think most of you have seen an optical shop outside, and we are running a full-fledged OPD and IPD services. And from this week onwards, we are taking OT swab and starting cataract surgeries and other surgeries also from in our hospital with the help of CEO Garu. So this CME, we are just going to talk about dry eye awareness. So I think as we all know, in the last 2 to 3 years since the COVID time, the online classes and work from home, Zoom meetings, all this has caused so much of stress and strain in our eyes. So we're not taking too much care about our eyes, especially being doctors and being in medical field. We don't give too much of importance to the eyes. So this small PowerPoint presentation is only to bring about the awareness of dry eyes, and I'll also talk a little about conjunctivitis. As you all know, in the last 1 2 months, we have seen a sudden surge in the case of conjunctivitis. So, thank you again, sir, and we'll just start the presentation. So, like I said, in this COVID era, everything has become online, from work from home, Zoom meetings, and for those of you who have kids here, this you might find this presentation very useful. So please listen carefully. So this was our daily schedule. Daily we wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning, and what we do next is we start getting ready for our Zoom meetings. We get ready for our online classes and get ready for our work from home. And once the online classes begins, screen time starts. The screen time literally for kids and for adults who are work from home, it is more than 4 to 6 hours in a day. So after the screen time, then we have our PUBG. Our kids, most of them, they play PUBG, and then we have been glued to our screens. We have been using a lot of screens to watch news channels. So what is happening worldwide for the COVID? So we are glued to the screen channel. That is another 1 2 hours, and then we are not done there yet. After that, we sit at home, we watch Netflix, we watch Amazon Prime, Hotstar, we watch movies. This has been our daily schedule. So then it is dinner time, but then after dinner, we still have one final round left. We are not done there. So after this, what the kids do normally is this is mission undercover mobile phones, 9 to 11 p.m. Again, we see our mobile phones. So, being in the medical field, I think most of you know we have something called the circadian rhythm. So, basically, melatonin hormone is something that is secreted around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So, this melatonin hormone basically puts us to sleep. Now, there is something called as blue light that is emitted from the screens, from the gadgets and mobile devices. Basically, this blue light, what it does is it reduces the melatonin hormone. So, it basically disturbs your sleep. It causes insomnia. So, if you are wondering post 9:30, 10, if you are wondering why you're not able to sleep, you know what the exact reason is. So, make sure post dinner time, you, your kids, and everybody, please refrain from mobile phones unless and until it is necessary. And as you all know, most of your iPhones and this thing also comes with a night mode. It has a this thing. There's a reason why it has come with the night mode, but still it is not 100% safe. So, try to refrain from your electronic devices after dinner. So, like I just said, in the entire day, eyes is the only organ that is exposed maximum time. So, literally, if you can see, the number of hours is almost like close to 8 to 10 hours per day. Be it kids, be it young adults, be it children, be it older people, we're all glued to our mobile phones, TVs, laptops, and everything. So, according to the 24-hour movement guidelines, a recent study shows that the digital eye strain is affecting the quality of life in children, which I'll talk about in the next few slides. So 8 out of 10 adults, because of the online classes, because of social media, because of online gaming, yes, we are done with the COVID era. COVID is almost completed, but still we are glued to our mobile phones. The 8 out of 10 adults are reported with digital eye strain. So according to the recent study of the British Medical Journal, in Indian population, more than 20% of the Indian population are suffering from dry eyes, and most of this dry eyes is because of digital eye strain. So as we all know, eyes are very important and delicate organ of the human body. It adds colors to the life, it expresses feelings, and it even speaks in silence. So let us just firstly understand the physiology of human eye. I'm not going in detail. Just as we all know, function of the eye is basically helps to see things around us, and we cannot imagine the world without the eyes. Eyes are very important. So equally important are tears that are secreted in the eyes. Tears are basically nothing but the clear liquid which is basically secreted from the tear glands in the eyes. So tears, as we all know, are necessary for maintaining the health of the front surface of the eye and providing a clear vision. So how are they secreted? Of course, tears as a secreted, as we all know, basically because of any emotional breakdown or because you're sad, you're happy, that is when tears come. But what is exactly happening here is tears. Basically, there are two types of physiological reaction. Basically, there are two types of secretions. One is the basic secretion, one is the reflex secretion. Basic secretion basically means that the supply of tears are at a constant rate. So no matter what you do, every time you blink, no matter what you do, continuously the tears are being secreted. And then number two is we have the reflex secretion. Reflex secretion basically the supply of the tears to any emotional reaction, like suddenly you're going through a tough time, you fail in your exams and you're emotional. These are the reflex secretion. Or suddenly some dust particle falls in the eye, some irritation occurs. This is basically a reflex secretion. So blinking, it's sorry. So blinking itself is one of the stimulus for tear secretion, which basically means that every time you blink, there's a tears are secreted and it keeps your eyes moist. So it is very important that whenever you're watching a lot of screen time, it is very important that you keep blinking. I'll come what exactly blinking is in the next few slides. So now this is a very important factor. There's something called as a tear breakup time. Basically, the tear breakup time, the normal tear breakup time is about 10 seconds, which basically means that, for example, you're watching your screens. Let's say kids are playing PUBG or they're playing any this thing. You're glued to your mobile phones and we forget to blink. So we forget to blink constantly. We keep our eyes open. So what happens is the tear film that comes that breaks easily. So that itself can cause a lot of dryness. So the normal tear breakup time is about 10 seconds. So what is happening? The tears are coming. Now we know that the tears are coming through a basic secretion or reflex secretion. So what is happening to the tears? So most of the tears, about 50 to 60% of the tears are getting evaporated. The rest of the tears are basically going into the nasolacrimal duct. Now normally when you're putting any eye drops or you're crying, you feel some bitter taste in your throat. So basically from the eyes, it is going into the nasolacrimal sac, the duct, and enter into your pharynx. So some of the tears are being evaporated, some are going into your nasolacrimal duct. So the functions of tears are basically help to maintain the health of the underlying structures. It maintains the optical stability. It protects the eye surface and it also provides nourishment. Insufficient tears basically causes lack of protection to the eye surface. It also happens to constantly you keep rubbing your eyes and also causes some disturbing symptoms of dry eyes. So if there is compromised blinking, like I said, the shorter tear breakup time. So what happens is if there is compromised blinking, there is compromised tear film that leads to shorter breakup time and ultimately it causes dry eyes. So what exactly is dry eye? Dry eye is a condition where a person doesn't have enough quality or quantity of tears to lubricate and nourish the eyes. So what are the factors involving dry eyes? Like I said, blinking rate. A normal blinking rate is about 16 to 20 times per minute. When we are watching a lot of screens, when you're watching Netflix, you're watching your mobile phones, normally we forget to blink. Now because you forget to blink, the tears that are coming, they evaporate more quickly. That itself can cause a lot of dryness. So it is very important, especially people in IT or software professionals, if your colleagues are there, it is very important that take more breaks and blink more frequently. Other factors for dry eyes, of course, pollution, and temperature because of the room humidity, because of wind speed and room temperature, which basically means that if you're sitting right under the fan or if you're facing directly in front of the AC, this itself can cause a lot of dryness, because if you're sitting right in front of the AC or right under the fan, that causes a more tear evaporation. So it is very important that you don't sit right under the fan, especially if you're suffering from dry eyes. So, like I just spoke about, it is very important that you blink frequently. People who are using a lot of mobile phones, laptops, screens, we just forget to blink when we're watching something because your focus is completely on the screen. So, it is very important that you blink frequently. So, once you blink, the tears are secreted. That keeps your eyes moist. That gives you a much clarity of the vision and it avoids dryness. So coming to the basically what we're all worried about, why I'm talking and stressing so much about dry eyes is because of the computer vision syndrome, also known as digital eye strain. So basically, computer vision syndrome is a group of eye and vision related problems that result from prolonged computer, tablet, or any screen devices. Many individuals experience eye discomfort and vision problems when viewing digital screens for extended period of time. So who can be affected from CVS? Here CVS is not cardiovascular. Here we're talking about computer vision syndrome. So work at the computer for more than 3 hours per day, who have strain at computer work or phone usage, experience any or all the symptoms of dry eye stated, which I'll be talking about in the next few slides, experience stressful situations associated with work. So is there any age limit for computer vision syndrome or digital eye strain? No, absolutely not. Anybody and anyone can be affected from computer vision syndrome or digital eye strain. Luckily, computer vision syndrome is not permanent. If it can be diagnosed early and it can be treated early, it can be prevented. The symptoms of computer vision syndrome are temporary headache and blurred vision. So what is the best way to treat a computer vision syndrome? Now, there are three phases in the management of computer vision syndrome, basically by detection, the management and follow-up. The best way to treat a computer vision syndrome is to identify the conditions that have been contributed to the symptoms. and address them. So, can it be prevented? Yes, luckily it can be prevented. The first step towards prevention is to be aware, which we're talking about right now. The computer vision syndrome itself sets in often due to assumption that mild discomfort or inevitable at computer work. The early signs are overlooked. See, basically what happens is you're using your mobile phones, you're very happy, you don't feel any problems. Temporarily, you don't have any issues. And that's what happens with the kids also. They're like, no, I'm using mobile phone for so many hours, I don't have any spectacles. But these things actually cause a long-term complications, which we are not addressing. So that is why it is very important that you address them in a very early stage. So, what can be the negative effects of computer vision syndrome? Like I just said, initially you might feel everything is okay, but long-term effects are very bad. So, we are going to address them. So, basically, what happens is the computer vision syndrome can cause a lot of stress levels. Children lose focus on their studies. It is possible that they cause a lot of errors because, like, if they have sight and they tend to ignore them, they're not able to follow what's happening in the classrooms. They tend to ignore them. Frequent absent, they lose their focus and less availability for personal care. So, these are all the negative effects of computer vision syndrome. So, how do we improve the eye health with the help of the following strategies? There is a simple strategy called 20-20-20 rule. I'll just come to it in the next slide. So, it is important that you follow proper balanced diet and keep your eyes clean and do some eye exercises. So, what is the 20-20-20 rule? It's a very simple rule that most of us can follow. It's a very basic exercise. Basically, for every 20 minutes of your screen time, for only 20 seconds, you just have to look at 20 feet away. So, for every 20 minutes, whenever you're using a phone or laptop, which might be very important, you're doing your work. So, just every 20 minutes, just for a few seconds, look at the farthest point in your room. That's a very basic exercise, and that you can follow your kids. If you have children, your kids can follow, your colleagues or in IT or software professionals, please explain to them. It's a very simple exercise, and this will help increasing the eye moist and it will help reducing the strain. So, of course, stay hydrated, eat a lot, plenty of bananas, foods which are rich in omega-3 fatty acid itself can cause your eyes to be moist, and eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. And nuts like almonds, walnuts, these are very important in your diet. Another very simple eye exercise is just remember to blink more frequently. Every time you blink, the tears are secreted, and that will keep your eyes moist. So this is just a small this thing you can just share it with your colleagues or your friends. It's very important that you adjust your distance. Don't sit too close to your screens. Don't sit too far away from the screens. It is very important that you have only about half arm length distance. It relax every 20 minutes. Like I just said, that simple 20-20-20 rule is very useful. Any eye exercises that you can do. Eye exercises basically another small exercise I'll give you. So you can just every time you take a break, you just look at your finger very close to your face and then keep it at one arm distance, look at consider the thumb and then look at the farthest point in the wall. So again from there you just bring your focus onto the thumb and then again bring it like this. 5 seconds, 5 seconds, and then 5 seconds. That is another one simple exercises that again helps you eye muscles to relax. And frequent eye checkup. If everything is normal, just get an annual eye checkup done. Clean your monitor, adjust your brightness. I'll come to that in the next slide. Blink frequently, instill eye drops. Now you get over-the-counter lubricating eye drops, which anyone can use. These are just carboxymethyl cellulose. These are nothing but a substitute for your natural tears. These drops do not have any side effects, so these can be used frequently. And it is important that if you have any prescription, please wear your glasses and then use your devices. Or even if you're not using devices, if you're having any power or if you're having any reflection, please wear your glasses regularly. And nowadays you're getting something called blue light protection lenses. Now, blue light protection lenses I just spoke about previously. Like I said, the blue light that is emitted from your screen devices are quite harmful for the eyes. It disturbs your sleep and loses your focus. So when you're getting your lenses, you can get something like blue light. Of course, it is not 100%, but at least it cuts down 60 to 70% of the blue light that is emitted from your devices. So use proper light. Like I said, it is very important that you have proper light. Now, when you're using your or your kids are using your laptop and this thing, it is very important that the window or the light is not in front of them or behind them. Make sure that there is no glare falling on your screen. So always window should be in the corners, in the left side or right side. Make sure it's not in the front or back. That is very important. It is important you can use an anti-glare screen because we have to minimize the glare. You can use an anti-glare screen or the spectacles that you're taking also you can get anti-glare spectacles. And this is an important slide. So normally when most of you, when you're using your mobile phone also, I see a lot of people actually having a very small font or a very big font. Please do not have that. Please have a normal size font. And it is very important that you see in the first this is how your text should be. It should be a white background and it should be a dark contrast text, or it can be something like a something like the second one here, it can be a slightly lighter background, but the letters contrast should be more. It should not be like this. The third one, if you can see, it should not be like this, where the background is very dark and the contrast of the letters is very light. So the last two is something that you need to avoid, because these things itself can cause a lot of strain to the eyes. So this is about the computer vision syndrome and digital eye strain. I just want to talk a couple of slides about conjunctivitis. So as you all know, in the last couple of months, we have seen a surge in the cases of conjunctivitis, and it's people are worried. First of all, there's nothing that you need. It's something that please inform or please educate your colleagues. It's nothing that you need to worry about. So basically, when you get conjunctivitis, important that you take care of conjunctivitis. So what is conjunctivitis? Conjunctivitis is nothing but the inflammation of the conjunctiva. It's also known as pink eye, or some people call it as Madras eye. Conjunctiva is nothing but a transparent layer which coats the outer surface of the eyeball. So inflammation of this conjunctiva, suddenly you have pink eye, your red eye. People are worried. They don't want to come close to you. So please do not worry. Now, what are the causes of conjunctivitis? Normal conjunctivitis is caused by, it could be viral conjunctivitis, it could be bacterial conjunctivitis. These two are the most common type of conjunctivitis. And then we have the allergic conjunctivitis. Allergic conjunctivitis is something that occurs in kids or teenagers, where when people have allergic conjunctivitis, they have a very severe habit of rubbing the eyes. But now, in the last couple of months, we are not worried about allergic conjunctivitis. It is the viral or bacterial conjunctivitis, which is very highly contagious. And normally, conjunctivitis does not spread. It's a myth that people think that conjunctivitis spreads through looking. So please don't worry. It does not spread through looking. It spreads through contact. It could be a direct contact or indirect contact. Direct contact is somebody who's having conjunctivitis or rubbing your eyes, and you directly they're touching your eyes, you will get conjunctivitis. Indirect contact is somebody who's having conjunctivitis, they rub their eyes. For example, they're touching a doorknob, and you who do not have conjunctivitis, you are coming in contact with the doorknob, and then you touch your eye, it spreads like that. So it is highly contagious. So it is important that you take preventive measures. Now, once you get conjunctivitis, it will subside on its own. Whether you use medications or you don't use medications, within a few days it subsides on its own. But if you are suffering from conjunctivitis, it is very important that you please isolate yourself. And people who have conjunctivitis, it is important that you ask them to isolate themselves. Isolate themselves means, if you're staying living in the same house, they can live in a separate room. Please do not share your handkerchief, bedroom linen, your bathroom, your utensils, your makeup. Please make sure that you don't share. And please ask the person who's having conjunctivitis to always wear some glasses, so that they don't constantly keep touching their eyes. You can also ask them to keep a small box of tissue papers. Every time there will be some watering and discharge, which is very commonly seen in conjunctivitis, you can ask them to just wipe it and discard it immediately. So these measures are important. Please ask them to consult an ophthalmologist and use the medications properly. And every time a person with conjunctivitis touches their eye, it is very important. The first thing that they do is they wash their hands, or they can also keep a small box of sanitizer in their pocket. So every time they touch their eye, they can use a sanitizer and clean their hands. Every time there's discharge, just wipe it and discard it. Please do not use handkerchief, because every time there's watering or discharge, you wipe with your handkerchief, that becomes infective. So anytime anybody comes in contact with that, they can easily get conjunctivitis. So change your pillowcases often. Pillowcases often. Throw away old cosmetics or mascara. Please do not reuse them. Isolate yourself, and it's very important. If your kids are suffering from conjunctivitis, see, we got conjunctivitis. We need to make sure that we don't give it to anybody else. That is something that is our responsibility. So if your colleagues, your kids are suffering from infection, please make sure that they don't go to offices or schools. So I think that summary is missing. So to summarize, basically, digital eye strain or computer vision syndrome is something that we ignore, and eyes are something that are on constant stress throughout the day. So it is very important that whenever you're working in front of your laptop, your TV, it is very important that you take more breaks. And please, post dinner, post 6:37, please do not use any electronic devices, because that directly or indirectly affects your lifestyle. It affects your sleep. So it is very important that you understand and you educate your colleagues and your children. And also, it is very important that you go for a regular checkup. In case you're having any power and you're not using any glasses, it is going to cause long-term effects. So please get an eye checkup done yearly once. And whenever you're using a lot of mobile phones, you're watching a lot of movies, please take more breaks. Don't watch continuously. I understand we're all nowadays, after Netflix has come, we do binge watch continuously. We watch shows. It is not healthy. If you're watching, in case it is work, if it's a movie, or in case you're watching, please make sure that every 20 minutes or half an hour, please take more breaks. So thank you once again, Queen's Anna Hospital, and thank you, Chandramouli Garu, for this wonderful opportunity. Also, we have just started our ophthalmology services with the help of Chandramouli Sir Garu. And from next week onwards, we are starting cataract surgeries also, and we are having a topical phaco surgeon who will be coming and operating. And we have a full fledged from morning to evening. We have our ophthalmology services. We have a great team and fully experienced optometrist. So in case you want to come, it's free checkup for all of you. But please, more importantly, if it is any geriatric patients, pediatric patients, diabetic patients, any patients who require ophthalmology checkup, please do refer to our department, and we will take care of them. And thank you, and looking forward to your support. And thank you, sir, once again. Thank you for this.